Hello everyone, welcome to the MudRoom, our weekly free Uncommon Sense parenting class. How is everyone doing? My kids are in day camp this week and I have to admit I am actually really enjoying it. My husband's away again right now, hopefully for the last time this summer. He's been in and out since May, but I figured, 24/7 solo parenting doesn't really sound like my jam right now. So off to day camp they went, and I'm so glad because later this week I'll be running 3 live classes, 2 tomorrow and 1 on Friday. And while my kids are fantastic about leaving me to work, it sure is easier to present to a crowd when I'm not also keeping one ear out for them. All right, before we jump into our topic today, allow me to introduce myself for those of you who are new. Hi, my name is Allana Robinson. I'm a parenting coach for parents of toddlers, preschoolers, and kindergartners. I help you understand why your children are misbehaving and how to fix it without using stickers, counting to 3, or losing your shit. I'm your host here on the MudRoom. I'm also the host of the Parenting Posse Facebook group, and I'm the creator of the Parentability program where I help you raise well-behaved kids of your own. No matter where you're catching this class, please like and subscribe so that you never miss another class. So today I'd like to revisit kids who are making incessant noise with their mouths. Often this is nonstop chatter, but it's also loudly humming, making siren sounds, clicking their tongue, making random sounds with their lips, etc. It's driving a lot of us kind of crazy. So let's talk about what it is, why kids are doing it, and how to respond when it's driving you up the wall. We originally covered this topic in 2020, so if this sounds familiar, it is. But it's coming up a lot again lately, so I figured it was time for a redo. So, children will often do something called filtering. Filtering is something we all do. Most of us learn to do it very unobtrusively by the time we're adults. A really common example of filtering is using a white noise machine to sleep. The white noise creates a filter which blocks out all of the other house noises around you so your brain can shut off and have a relaxation response. That's an example of using an external filter. And that's basically what happens when children are using their mouths to make lots of random sounds. They're producing a sound with their mouth to act as the filter instead of using an external filter, like a white noise machine. This isn't exclusive to sound though. We can filter physically too. Children who tend to smash into things or who are pickers, nail biters, chew their lips, those are all examples of physical filtering. I used a physical filter when I got my COVID jabs. I used a vibrator on my neck to filter the pain signal from the needle to my brain. Sunglasses are an example of physical filtering. You can taste filter, so when you mix medicine with chocolate milk, that's a taste filter. Or when you eat a bitter vegetable by loading it underneath a pile of pasta on your fork, also filtering. Basically, it's using one kind of input to mask or dilute another kind of input. So if a child is experiencing sensory overload or sensory understimulation, they'll filter to get the right level of input. It's actually amazing. The problem is that their filtering can often be the source of our overstimulation. Last time I spoke on this, it came up that people were concerned that I was confusing filtering and stimming. And you're right, when a child is creating output in order to filter, that is a kind of stimming for sure. But not all filtering is stimming and not all stimming is filtering. They're part of each other, but they're not the same thing. So how can we combat this? Well, the easiest way is to provide our own filter. Generally, this looks like a music or podcast playing in the background. A lot of people live with their TVs on all day as background noise, same idea. We're just removing the screen aspect because that can cause its own stimulation issues. So my son loves to sing to filter, and that's amazing, but he will sing the same Mario Kart or Zelda theme song in his adorable tone-deaf voice all day long. And I can't handle it. So we generally have a Spotify playlist playing in the background over our Echo system. If he's playing in his room, he has his own playlist that he plays. If we're in the car, I always have music playing. And often he'll sing along or hum along, which is way easier for me to handle than the same video game theme songs all day long. If I need quiet, like right now, I'll give him Bluetooth headphones for him to listen through. If we're somewhere that it's not appropriate for him to be wearing headphones, I either put on ear defenders or I use wax earplugs to dull the sound so that I'm not getting overstimulated by his filtering. And that's option 2, is to filter ourselves. I like the soft wax ones that mold to your ear. I think my ears are kind of an odd shape, like ear plugs just never fit correctly. but the wax ones are just little balls of soft wax that you smush in there and it plugs all the holes. I've also been using calmer ear filters from Flare Audio. These are just little like silicone funnels that fit in your ear, and they help the sound not bounce around your ear so much so that it isn't as annoying. I get really overstimulated when my kids are playing loudly or whining or whatever, and it's not because it's too loud, it's because the way my ears are receiving the sound is overstimulating. So those little like calmer funnel things really help. Or ear defenders work really well too. My kids know that if I have ear defenders on, that I'm not available, so they leave me alone to cook or work or whatever it is that I'm doing. It doesn't completely remove the noise, but it dulls it enough that I can go about my day and still be responsive to them. And then your final option is to ask them to stop or put a boundary around it. Some kids don't even realize that they're doing it, and when you ask them to stop, they're happy to. Or you can put a boundary around it. I need quiet right now, so if you want to sing or make that sound, you need to go and do that in your room, outside, on the balcony, in the basement, whatever you have available. Just not here. And then enforce that boundary. Take them to one of those spaces you mentioned that you can't hear them in. It's okay if your kids get upset when you put a limit around the sound. Remember, the sound is helping them to stay regulated, so when you take that away, you need to be prepared to deal with some dysregulation. Often you can offer an alternative calming activity so that they can get back to it and do it and go right back to what they were doing. I know when my kids are making incessant noise, that's my red flag that they need some help co-regulating. So I'll pull out one of their calming activities or suggest they go do something I know is preferred that they find calming, and then that generally resolves the non-stop sound. But by giving them space to make the sound somewhere where you just can't hear it, they often kind of do their filtering thing. It regulates them, and then after a while they come out and go on their way. So that is why your children are making non-stop sound. I hope that gives you some ideas of different ways that you can address it while still meeting everybody's needs and limitations. Remember, kids do well if they can, so if they're doing something over and over and over and won't heed your pleas for them to stop, it's usually because it's performing a function that is maintaining their regulation. So we need to find a container for it, we need to find an alternative, or we need to replace it. We can't just make it disappear. If you find your child is filtering constantly, that is likely an indicator that they need some help with learning to regulate. And that's something that we can help you with in Parentability. In Parentability, we walk you through identifying what stressors are affecting your child and help you make a plan to reduce or eliminate them while building their coping skills. So if you'd like to learn more about that, I have a free class available at allanarobinson.com/free class that it will explain how all of this works together in more detail. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to talk more about this and connect with other parents, please find me in the Parenting Posse. The link for the group will be in the description. Have a great day!